name's Duncan White. I'm the managing editor of the International Fire and Safety Journal. I'm here at Intersec in Dubai, and I'm delighted to be joined by Thanos Karydas. Thanos, hello, my friend.
Hi, Duncan. How are you?
I'm very well. It's been a couple of years since we sat down and chatted, and it's great to see the way in which it's all developing. Thanos, tell us a little bit about yourself and HT&K for the people that are unaware.
HT&K was founded in 2010. Their initial focus was fluorocarbons and silicon-based materials for the textile industry. Since then, they have added other specialty chemicals to the range. We recently added fluorosurfactants to our range for firefighting. This was a natural continuation, of course, of our competencies. And the decision was made to produce chemically equivalent materials to the products previously offered by Chemours, Chemguard, and Dynax. This allows the formulators to basically drop them in as substitutes in their firefighting foams without the need for recertification. This has been a very successful strategy for us, providing alternatives to the formulators. After less than 3 years now, we are China's #1 supplier for fluorosurfactants for firefighting, and we believe at the rate we're progressing, within the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be the leading supplier in the world.
Well, that's testament in itself. So, what role do you play at HT&K?
My background is in chemistry. I was the one of the originators of the fluorosurfactants for firefighting back in the Ciba-Geigy days. Later on, with some colleagues, we founded Dynax Corporation. Since then, I sold my interest in Dynax and pursued my own interests later on. So you're looking at now 42 to 43 years experience in the fluorosurfactant industry.
So the depth of knowledge and expertise is certainly here to see. Fluorine-free foams are gaining a lot of attention globally. Just give us some understanding of the perspective from HT&K's position.
This is a new area. There have been only a few years of research in that. There are several companies, like very legitimate firefighting companies, that have made significant progress in that. However, the performance is still not there, especially compared to AFFFs. There are several situations where rapid extinguishment is required and good burn back, and this cannot be done, with the current fluorine-free foams. So in situations when you have to balance the potential for loss of life and property with what is considered as environmental damage, the AFFFs are the only solution. Let's have, as an example, an aircraft carrier. Okay, you have munitions, you have fuel, and in theory you have less than 40 seconds. This is a mathematical calculation to put the fire out before everything starts exploding around you. Okay, and this is why there have been exemptions to most navies and armies, for the really foreseeable future, at least the next decade, about using AFFFs.
So a decade's a long time. It's the ability for technology and innovation to move on during that period is massive. We see things moving and hear about things on almost daily basis. So, in your professional opinion, are we going to get where we need to be within a decade?
Yes. Okay. Well, if you start looking at our background, how long it took to develop fluorosurfactants that are specific to AFFF formulations, it took several years. And a strong team of researchers and companies like Ciba-Geigy and DuPont with huge resources. Okay. Currently, the formulators of fluorine-free foams are using hydrocarbon surfactants typically used for shampoos and floor polishes. Okay, and with that, the demand on them is to develop products that perform. This is an unrealistic expectation. It's extremely important to develop hydrocarbon surfactants, fluorine-free, that mimic as much as possible, because they'll never be quite as good, the properties of fluorocarbon surfactants. And this way, we have an opportunity to have a purpose-built fluorine-free foam. This is the approach we have taken at HT&K, and we have allocated significant resources to that. We believe that this is the future. We believe that we're going to be a big part of this fluorine-free future, but we believe that we have not gotten the necessary information yet. However, what I need to say is that we're very encouraged by the initial results. Already we have far surpassed the performance of fluorine-free foams with our custom-made additives, and we're still in the initial stages. So the future is definitely appears to be brighter.
So purpose design chemistry and the future of firefighting foams. How does that look? Explain to the less educated of us, and with your experience, what that looks like going forward.
Okay. I believe that, and here's the trick here. There is, unfortunately, when you have two fires, you cannot have one next to the other, and there is no rewind button. What happens now if I use an AFFF and then, rewind the fire, use a fluorine-free? So unfortunately, we don't have an exact comparison. And that's why some people say, well, this was a catastrophic fire. You know what? The background information, the backstory to that is that this fire could have been prevented if AFFFs were being used. So in my opinion, 10 years down the line, we will still need AFFFs for these stubborn fires, but they just have to be used judiciously.
You HT&K have developed solutions, and in relation for batteries, fuel fires, explain a little bit more about how that works.
We focused initially on two fields. One was firefighting chemicals for battery fires, lithium-ion battery fires. The reason we did that is basically business potential and size of the problem. If you look at batteries around our lives, from your phone to the electric cars outside, we're almost overrun by lithium-ion battery fires. And for example, 60 million electric cars are out on the road. That's more than double of what was less than 2 years ago. Everybody has an iPhone. Most of us have two. Okay, and we know, that there have been many catastrophic fires from, like, for example, electric cars.
Yeah.
Okay, like in the UK, one car caught fire in the garage, 1,400 cars burned in the entire building. Okay, the technology, the firefighting technology that is currently available is not equipped to deal with battery fires. The reason for that is that basic fire extinguishment is based on separating the oxygen from the fuel. Okay, like you cover the burning material, the foam or water or the powder goes on, oxygen doesn't get through, that's it, you're done. However, batteries do not require oxygen to burn because they brought their own. Okay, so it's a different technology. It requires a rethink and new materials. We already have developed a product right now which is extremely effective and extremely popular too. So this is at least one book that we have already closed as we move in, as we move to the next one. The second one was a low viscosity foam concentrate for fuel fires, gasoline, diesel. Again, volumes, high volumes. This is a high volume application because we have, of course, the civilian airports, fuel stations, tank farms. Yeah. So clearly we're going to put our resources to the largest business potential for us, because after all, this is a business, So first we need to harvest, some profits that we can reinvest in research for smaller areas.
So I suppose that leads me to, in relation to the regulation, pressures from regulation, pressures from the need for environmental protection, where do you see foam development going?
This is an interesting one. There is huge political pressure, especially in the US, Europe, and Australia, to move completely away from the fluorocarbons foams. In my opinion, this would be a big mistake. Okay, let me give you an analog, a parallel from the pharmaceuticals industry. If you take any medication and you look at the list of side effects, you're going to be like, my God, I'm going to die, right?
Exactly.
I mean, the cure is worse than the disease. Okay, so for example, like you don't take chemotherapy if you have a headache, right?
Yeah.
Because of the side effects. However, if you have cancer, an aspirin is not going to help you. Okay, if we remove all the medicines, all the pharmaceuticals that have dire warnings, from the market, this will have a very detrimental effect on the general health of the population. I feel the same way about removal of the AFFFs from the firefighter arsenal. Okay, I believe it's a very strong product with some unwanted side effects. I don't think, not necessarily as much as people play them out to be. So I feel they definitely have their place. They have to be part. This has to be your big A-bomb, basically. They have to be used judiciously when there is no other solution.
Yeah. So it's very much that really one size doesn't fit all. There's a need to have options, but looking at when the AFFF option is going to be needed to, like you say, deal with something very swiftly, very, very quickly. So we find ourselves in this balance period, as we've said, with the pressures from governments, pressures from environmentalists. But I think what is great talking with you is you're able to give us that balanced perspective in relation to the way, and I love the pharmaceutical analogy. It's
I was hoping to do that. You see, the difficulty is, and this is what I'm going to close with, is that as soon as you come out in support of the fluorocarbons, now you are labeled as an environmental terrorist. It's like, so people are afraid there is a political cost to coming out in support of those. But I think at the end, the population will be the loser, because the biggest pollutants from a fire, better than me, is the combustion material, not the extinguishing material. So the sooner you put that fire out, these plastics that are burning with the PCBs, their petroleum smoke and the unsaturate that are out in the air, the better off you're going to be.
Very much so, and this is what is hugely exciting with the industry from the suppression side, is that experts like yourself are really working hard to look at the best solutions, but not for the one size fits all. And one day, you never know, down the line, we talked about a decade, there's a lot can happen. We may well be sitting here in 5 years' time saying, you know what, the developments came quicker than we originally thought. But the world continues to turn, so we still need solutions until that time.
Exactly.
So
you're absolutely right. In other words, AFFF use can be reduced, let's say, from 20-25%, maybe to 5%, as the fluorine-frees are becoming more and more adept. And we learn more and more and more. But my feeling is that they will definitely be there.
exactly. Thanos, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. They say every day is a school day, and it's always a pleasure to come and sit and chat with this man. I'm Duncan White. I'm the managing editor of the International Fire and Safety Journal, and it's been my pleasure to be hosted here on the HT&K Anti Fire stand. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Duncan. Thank you.